Okay, hello friends. We are going to talk about warm up and cool down just pretty quickly here. It's been a question that has come up with a bunch of people recently. So I'm going to give just an outline for easy and long runs and then another outline for workouts because there's a slight difference between how we want to warm up and cool down for those two activities. And then after, I'll explain why we're doing it. But the quick and dirty to start. So for easy and or long runs, warm up. Generally, what you need to do is take at least the first 10 minutes of your easy or long runs at a specifically intentionally easy pace. If you do that, generally we'll be pretty warmed up for an easy effort or a long run, so long as that long run doesn't have any of the workout aspects inside of it. Optional before that is this is a great place for anybody who likes to foam roll or use a percussion massager. This is probably like right before you head out for a workout or any type of run. Before you go is probably the best place for us to put that foam rolling in and put that percussion massaging in. So, and then if you like during your easy efforts, so specifically if you're trying to work on your running form, then putting some drills inside of your easy runs or inside of your long runs, like just at the beginning, what it will do is it'll just remind your body of the drills will help to remind your body of how we want to be moving when you're running, and then that proximity of the drill to you actually doing the activity of running, if the closer we can get that, the more effective that drill is going to be. So repeated practice with running drills, and again, having close proximity. So that's the important thing. For easy and long runs, cool down, just again, having at least the 5 to 10 last minutes of your effort being specifically very easy or even a walk is ideal. If your entire long run or easy run is at an easy pace, then you don't need to go slower necessarily. This is why this is optional. And then the other thing is optional is, I would say, probably not more than 4, but 2 to 4 kind of body weight strength endurance exercises. So you can see that like 2 to 3 sets, 12 to 20 reps, or about 45 to 60 seconds total time for isometrics. So if you're trying to add in a little bit more strength after your easy efforts, is probably the best place for that, just because your body is already going to be prepared for it, and hormonally this is actually a good place for us to get some strength training in, something slightly less kind of catabolic than the straight easy efforts. For workouts, essentially what we want to do is we're going to do a little bit more to prepare, and we're not going to need as much in terms of cool down because we're not going to really be putting the strength stuff in after. So for workouts, again, optional before you leave the door, doing some foam rolling or some percussion massage, especially if you have an existing injury or an area that's sore. This is, again, the optimal place for that. We need to spend a little bit more time putting in just some easy running. So 10 minutes would be the minimum I would say I would like to see people do. 20 minutes for a workout is usually pretty good, because if we go beyond that, we're just going to start to fatigue you more than needed. But what will happen is you'll probably feel your breathing change. So when you first start, it might be, say, 4 steps in, 4 steps out. And then once you get to that 3 steps in, 3 steps out, or once you start to notice a little bit of sweat, you're kind of looking for an actual sign that your body has warmed up. So once we get to that state, and that would normally take at least 10 minutes, but up to 20, then we can kind of stop and head into the next thing, which is 5 minutes of some form of drills. So my ideal is that everybody has 1, 2, sometimes up to 5 running drills that they're working on at any given point, or ones that they find rewarding in the past, and we're just kind of keeping on top of them to make sure our running form stays good and tight. We're heading into block 3, so at this point we're really in training. We're really not trying to change your running form at all. We want your running form kind of is what it's going to be for the race. We can change your running form a bit more early in the season and during the off season. So if you want more, I'll make a video on running drills. But the idea is that we're taking time. This can be dynamic stretching as well. I'm not a huge proponent of dynamic stretching just because I haven't seen much recent research to say that it's actually beneficial to performance. But if you find that it's helpful for you, then cool. But the main thing is doing some drills and then intersplicing those with some accelerations so that you've introduced the pace you're going to be doing, or even slightly faster, to your body. You've introduced that pace before you head into that first interval, because you don't want that first interval to be a shock to your body. Then once you've done all of that, then we want to take 2 to 3 minutes of rest before you go into your first rep. You can think of heading off to a race, and if you were to do a bunch of strides, which we normally do, and then the moment you're done your last stride, they're like, okay, the gun's going to go off in 15 seconds, and you run over to the line. You're not quite going to feel ready. It's going to be the same during a workout. You want to get used to, walking around, milling about, get used to having that 2 to 3 minutes of just kind of standing on the line and getting used and ready to perform before we start the workout. And also, metabolically speaking, that's good for you. And then for workouts, we want to get at least 5 up to 20 minutes of just super easy running or walking as a cool down. My ideal is that we don't need to do these strength workouts. I'd prefer we do them after the easy efforts. But if they're the only place you can get them in, you can put them in after the workout. But I would stay just a little easier with some of these exercises. But sweet. Okay. So that's what to actually do. Now the question is why, for anybody who is wondering. So our goals for warm-up do we kind of have 3 things we're trying to prepare, or this is how I kind of frame this. So metabolically speaking, we want to get your body able to move oxygen to the working muscles, to clear waste products, and to metabolize carbohydrate, and do all the things that kind of power your body to do. The things that let us do that is this time at a really low effort, and then also specifically short bits of time at a higher effort, because that will low effort and high effort has different metabolic demands. So you want to introduce the high effort to your body and then give it some time to get ready for it. But obviously, if you spent too much time at that high effort, you would just tire yourself out for the workout. So, so that's why we have this kind of general chunk of time and why we want strides. So those are 2 important aspects to it. We also want to prepare specific tissues. So if you have an existing injury, then we need to do something extra to prepare that injury to prepare the tissue to be able to work in the way that we want it to without overloading it, and kind of give it some specific care. So that's where this specific tissue work of like foam rolling, percussion massage, even just a hand massage can be really good. And then drills are also really good for this as well, because you can specifically use drills to target certain movements of certain tissues, so that we can give them a bit of stimulus before we get into the workout. And this will give you that time to assess, is my sore knee or my sore Achilles or my sore hip, is it ready for a workout? Like if you go into some drills and strides, or if you palpate around in the area and it's still super sore, maybe doing a workout today isn't the best idea. We want to figure that out before we get into the workout, because you can always shift it a day, hopefully give your body a little bit more recovery. So and then the last is to prepare neurologically. So this is kind of how your body goes through the movement of running. We can think of this as like doing patterns. So this is where drills are really good. When you're in the act of running and running hard and you get into a workout, we don't want you necessarily having to think about all the aspects of locomotion, of propelling your body through space. We don't want you having to think about it. We just want you one good general feeling of what like efficient, good running feels like. And drills allow us to break those down into little component parts, introduce them earlier on so that you can kind of remind your body of what moving that one leg or moving your arms and legs in sync feels like. So then again, that proximity of that reminder to the actual movement of running will help you run more efficiently. And we want to be able to, you can even think of this as this is part tissue work as well, but moving your body through a fuller range of motion than what you're going to demand of it in the actual workout. And that's where, again, drills and strides come in. That range of motion aspect is why people like dynamic, like doing dynamic stretching. But running is by its nature a very, what we would call, it is a like explosive power-based movement. And when we overstretch our joints, which can happen pretty easily during dynamic stretches, we lose some of the elasticity that can help to protect joints, and also that gives us our springiness. So overstretching, it can be dangerous as well, same as not being prepared to move through a full range of motion. So we really want to try to strike a middle balance. So if you're going to do dynamic stretches, just don't push it to their absolute limit. Just go through whatever your body feels comfortable with, and allow that range of motion to increase gradually over the course of doing it. And then with cool down, I mean, I honestly just don't see as much use for cool down. I think that they're good to do because they can, kind of help to clear some waste products, given so long as you don't go and just sit down and are completely sedentary. If you just continue to walk around and move around after you do a workout, I'd say you're probably doing a lot of work towards clearing that metabolic waste anyway. But the main reason to do cool down is just it helps people feel better, especially if you're feeling super nauseous, or just getting out and going for a light jog can or walk can just help to, because we're helping to clear all that waste. It can kind of just help with some of that. It's also for ultra running. I didn't put this on the form, but for ultra running, doing a hard workout and then doing an extended long cool down can give you a really good experience that you can kind of learn to tolerate, of learning to run with like really, really tired muscles, and just like that. Doing 45 minutes after a really hard track workout is really similar, I find, to what just easy running feels like after like 4 or 5 hours of just normal time on your feet. Just everything kind of hurts, and you don't really want to be running, although the pace is quite easy. So getting some of that exposure can be good, specifically for ultra running, less so for the marathon and anything below. But sweet. Okay, that's warm up and cool down. Maybe just pick one or two things and try to do one or two things better than what you've done in the past. And that's the goal for phase 3 and 4. Sweet.